Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sim Racing Alliance. We are here with Season 10 and Round 1.
Boogity, let's go racing. That's the green flag jobs.
Looking maybe even full wide.
They're fanning out. There's a bit of contact. He's got the outside.
Side, that's a great move.
He's got plenty of speed in there and he's being held up.
He's going to have a better run. Yeah, it's going to stick it on the outside.
Oh, that's a late move. 296 Ferrari, though, finds a space.
Oh, he didn't have it.
We're on our way for SRA.
Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sim Racing Alliance. We're here with League in a Week. It's round 4 at Barcelona. I'm Andrew Reif, joined by my good friend and teammate last season, Donovan Colton. And I have to say, I'm quite excited to be out here in the booth with you for today. Barcelona is an interesting and challenging track in all of the best ways. I've got you muted. Oh no. Hang on. It's been so long since I've hosted. Yeah, you gotta give me a moment. But this is the reason why I check. All right, Donovan, go ahead and give me a sound check, would you?
Yeah.
There he is.
Check. There, yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
All right, do it over. Do it over. Run it back.
I was just saying, this is the first time we ever been in booth together. Kind of a good time for that. But yeah, Barcelona. I'm excited for Barcelona. It's an interesting track for sure. It provides some pretty good racing.
Indeed, and we talk about Barcelona, of course. I mentioned the variety of challenges that it will throw at you, and it is one of the de facto test tracks for Formula One and really all manner of racing for a reason. Of course, you talk about the long sweeping corners that make up Sector 1, the fast sweeping corners that make up Sector 2, and that little hairpin, and then Sector 3 is personally my probably least favorite sector of like any track ever. I honestly just don't like Sector 3 at Barcelona.
I completely agree, especially with that chicane. I mean, when it's the sweeping right-hander, obviously we don't get that in ACC. It's not too bad, but that chicane can be a little clunky, but it can offer some really interesting situations during racing, though.
Certainly can. We're still in free practice for the server, so just talking briefly about what the standings are right now. So an interesting story that we kind of tracked for a little bit. Bailey Kish had 2 back-to-back podium finishes at P2 at Paul Ricard, and then had a stellar showing at Imola as well. Didn't take home a win there, but still sits at the top of the standings at 299.5 points. Of course, we're using the regular SRA points schedule, so that's 110 points for first, 100 for second, etc., etc. If you want to see those full point standings, you can go to simracingalliance.com and check it out. However, it's 0.5 times multiplier for every race because we've got 2 races on every day for League in a Week. So that's where you're getting the half points from. But that being said, it is Bailey Kish out in front. D1 silver last season and was a mighty contender and currently leading League in a Week. That's no small feat, and the gap is about 60 points right now, down to Travis Robinson. Brian Anderson comes up in third, and Anton Rushevich in fourth right now, 95.5 points off of the championship leader right now, Donovan. With 4 races to go, there's still loads of potential.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with Anton there, it's it's always funny because he's got D4 next to his name. That's where he competed last season, but he's fast. He's really fast. So yeah, definitely putting in some good results there. Hanging up with the D1 and D2 drivers for sure.
Indeed, I'm still just kind of waiting on the server to reset here, but I'm trying to look through the field and see if we've got some newer names. Amos Movo is taking the field today. We've seen him have a couple of struggles in the past races here. He is quite new to GT3 racing, but we've got a lot of hopes for him. Penkovic is also out on the field, newer racer to the scene, as well as Thomas Acosta in the 923 McLaren was showing earlier on. There are, of course, a lot of returning drivers as well to keep your eyes on, and it looks like the qualifying session is just about to get underway. So let me see if I can't get us moved on over to the race scene here in a moment. I just want to make sure I got all my stuff set up And indeed, we're ready to go. So as the drivers start to make their way out of the pit lane to begin qualifying, of course, is going to be the faster drivers who take part in the second half of quali. So expect people who are more on the orientation side to be going out first, and some new names on the grid.
Yeah, this is, within our League of the Week, a lot of the drivers can take their orientation race for the upcoming season for, all the new drivers. So, yeah, I mean, I imagine at this point, a lot of the orientation drivers have already taken, one of those drives earlier in the week. So, a lot of them, probably more kind of know what to expect, with SRA racing. But yeah, as we look, and the cars are getting out for their prep lap.
It's going to be a little bit on the hotter side as well. 30 degrees and 39 degrees for the track temperature. Of course, that ambient is going to be the one that more or less determines what you're going to want to run for tire pressures. But with the track starting on optimum, at least it's going to be a bit of a known quantity here for the drivers as they go out for their variety of laps. And one of the names that we actually talked about before we even started, an interesting one for us, is Jacob Boosterski, which I have to say, very much a fan of that one, personally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great name. But yeah, that's a name I'm not quite familiar with. So excited to see what they got in store for us.
And it looks like we are. So I'm actually right now in the background trying to negotiate with my technical director, if you will, Jess Osborne. And it looks like some people are having a couple of issues with the stream, so I'm working on that as we go out for the qualifying laps. Well, hopefully we'll have that one sorted out here before too long. Talking about some previous results, though, one driver I am looking out for personally, Jeremy Yaron, who had an excellent result, race 2 of Imola, top 10 finish in front of Anton Rushovich, who is an incredibly quick driver, one that I personally would not be too excited about facing in the team series. If I had to choose, I think I'd prefer to have a little bit of an easier time. He's incredibly quick. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Yeah, I am too. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be racing today. But yeah, he's definitely very quick, and yeah, excited to see what he could do this upcoming season. Jeremy, I know he likes Imola quite a bit, and so yeah, him that track get along. I don't know how he feels about Barcelona. Barcelona is kind of a hit and miss track for a lot of drivers. Some really like it, some really don't like it. I don't know too many drivers that feel just completely in the middle of the road for it.
We're following Data Blank across the line as they begin their first flying lap here. See what they have to offer, of course. The turn 1-2 complex is going to have a lot of implications for your lap time, trying to maximize the track all the way from the entry here. And we'll see that NSX kind of stretch out onto the curbs just a little bit, followed by that Mustang close behind. And really trying to ride up on those curbs as much as you can, but you can see they're a little bit shy on it. And that kind of is the nature of this car. We talk a little bit about the car differential, and the NSX is certainly one that can be a little bit happier at some circuits than others.
Yeah, I was going to say the Mustang behind looked like, it was right up on the curb quite a bit more, which, that is kind of the nature of both of those cars. The Honda, really does not like curbing nearly as much as the Mustang would, the Mustang, you could really attack a lot of those curbs. Has really wide from the Honda there, and the Mustang backing off consequentially, giving a bunch of space. Here you're not allowed to take over during a qualifying session, so of course you want to leave enough space. It's up to the car behind to leave space, to get your qualifying lap in.
Indeed. A couple other drivers out on track, Ian Gilchrist, as well as Jerome Mai, who are both kind of coming into the last little bit of the track here. This is a difficult one, a little bit of a blind apex there for that right-hander into the left for the chicane. It looks like it was a little bit suboptimal there, but the 183 will have plenty of other opportunities to go at the track, make some adjustments.
Yeah, it can be, it could definitely be, that's that clunky chicane, and clunky is like the only way I could describe that bit, especially during a race, when you got a bunch of cars through there.
Indeed. First time's coming up on the table. A 145.6. Currently the purple lap that's belonging to Joshua Worley in the Mustang car. That was a little bit contentious when it did first drop for being a little bit stronger than the remainder of the field. In fact, actually, talking about times though, Donovan, my memory fails me as to what we should be looking for from the fastest drivers on the field.
The fastest, I mean, it depends on who we're talking about, the fastest drivers. I'm assuming, at this temperature, our pole time will be, I don't know, I think somewhere in the 43s, right?
I feel like 43 high is kind of the average benchmark for the quick D2, the slower D1 driver, of course. I don't think any driver D1 is actually slow.
Slow, yeah.
Following JP Johnston here, returning driver through the last little bit of the chicane. And that might be a little bit more of a proper take. He did lose a very slight little bit of time, but still 9/10 up on his own best so far this session. As he comes across the line, that's going to be a solid improvement.
Yep, up to P2 there. Still, yeah, a bit behind Worley there in the Mustang. And yeah, with the Mustang, it's still a very strong car. I think especially around this track. This seems like it would be a very good track. I haven't personally driven it here, but it seems like it would be a very good track for the Mustang. However, the Ferrari's good at, a lot of tracks, and this one I don't think would be an exception.
Sorry, Penkovic here. A name that I haven't seen before, but certainly one that I would like to see in the 205 Ferrari. I'm noticing a lot of Ferraris. Is that actually a 488 Evo? I can't quite eye that one up. No, that's a 296. Yeah,
296 still. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how many 488s we have. I'm assuming ER and Brothers would be using the 488 because they don't believe in the 296. But yeah, I think the Ferrari, I mean, we've got a lot of Ferraris out on track. That's definitely a strong car here. A lot of McLarens as well, and of course the McLaren's always strong. But this is also a track that I think it would be particularly strong at.
Indeed. I'm going to go ahead and we're still working on getting things sorted out on the back end here. But the qualifying times still do look relatively nominal at present. So no major worries about that one right now. We're going to go ahead and hop around the field, actually. I'm going to go on with Bushevsky right now, who's about 4/10 up on their time. And it seems that my Discord may have been responsible for all of the issues that we were experiencing. My OBS was reporting no problems, but as soon as I turned off the actual stream feed, we are okay. So there's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen that.
We'll work out getting that one sorted out in the background. It's an improvement for Bushevsky up to a 145.3. And indeed, we have seen Amos Movo coming across the line just a moment ago in the 518 machine. A 144.840 with only one purple sector on that lap. So we'll see if there's going to be more improvements down the field. Gilchrist is up by about 8/10. Acosta is up by about 8/10 on their time. Not exactly lighting up the times tables, but still it's nice to have drivers finding their improvements. And indeed, Acosta does advance to a 147.3. That's more than a couple of positions gained as Gilchrist comes up to the line now. Taking a moment to get things set up here on the back end, so bear with me for just a moment. Donovan, I should have hopefully, the solution that you need right there in the backroom chat. We follow Pinkard around.
We are checking.
Oh no. We are checking, indeed.
We're good.
trying to find my mouse right now. There it is. And I think we're set to go. So the stream should be all good. Let us know if anybody is still having any issues. Yeah, I don't know how it is that Discord causes so many problems, especially when my OBS is telling me that everything is A-okay, and then I turn it off and suddenly we're hunky-dory.
Classic Discord.
That's just the way of it. Well, in any case, the drivers haven't had any issues. Movo has improved their time by about a 10th, and they've returned to the pits since then. Last flying laps are now coming on the board. Is Koval, the Porsche 992. Car that has historically been a little bit bipolar on this track, and I only say that because with strong drivers who know the car, this vehicle can be very potent, but the machine is not very easy to come to grips with, and it looks like this is going to be a non-improvement, to say the least, as a 146.7 ends up being their final time. Certainly respectable around this circuit. Pinkard and Johnston are both also still out on circuit, but it looks like there are going to be no significant improvements on the table as the faster division of drivers begin to take the field and exit the pit lane.
Yeah, it looks like with our first set, we got Movo there on provisional pole. Movo has been improving quite a bit on his pace. He was D5 last season, if I recall correctly. But yeah, his pace is. I know he's been taking some lessons from Anton Rushevich, if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. I don't know.
But it's not pronounced Rushevich. He would have yelled at me the other day if it wasn't.
Yeah, I imagine so. But yeah, but yeah, he's been taking some lessons. I'm pretty sure some coaching from him, and his time has been improving pretty drastically. I feel like the last while, so he's definitely one to look out for.
We'll see what he can bring to the table. Looks like he's going to have pole position wrapped up for the slower half of the field. Acosta here on no improvement on their time. They did find quite a bit in Sector 3, so perhaps there's a little bit of improvement that we'll see as the race takes the field proper. Acosta will come across the line and end their qualifying session in P11 as, again, the faster drivers beginning to get out onto the field. And who's leading them? I believe it is the number 14 car of Bailey Kish, who is out first. I'm trying to find him on my race control, but I can't quite do it. There he is. We'll see what he can do in the BMW M4. This one, a driver who has been steadily climbing, I would say, the ladder of SRA over the last couple of seasons, if my memory serves correctly, and is certainly eyeing up Division 1 gold here before too long.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as far as, I haven't been super involved with the D1 drivers, being mostly focused on my Division D2, but yeah, he's definitely, I mean, when I am on track with him, he's definitely cooking, and obviously, he's been putting in some good, solid results for League in a Week this week, and I mean, obviously, leading the championship so far, and leading this pack to the first lap, so obviously he's eager to get in a solid qualifying.
Oh, that's not going to help them.
Right when I say that.
Oh, no. Bailey, that's not the line, sir. We'll hop away. We'll hop away.
Yeah.
I don't think that was supposed to happen.
Yeah, it's easy to do that on that turn, if you take too much of the inside curb and it just shoots you out.
Well, you want to get down on the power as early as you possibly can, but fighting that understeer is very difficult, especially given the conditions. It, of course, is a little bit early, I would say, to be having those kinds of significant issues, but the temperature is going to play a very real factor for a lot of drivers, especially when we're talking about the Porsches. And speaking of, got a couple of Porsches out on the field here. The 551 of Rowdy Burns, one that stands out to me, who was, I believe, participating in Division 2 with us last season, running a little bit in the midfield, but certainly seeing some improvements over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and it's got that awesome livery there, the Angry Birds kind of livery. But
get the cam a little bit closer here. Actually, just take the free cam a little bit.
There we go. Yeah, love it. Yeah, the bad pig livery there. Yeah, that's great.
There you go.
But Yeah, he's definitely. So he was a promotion halfway through the season, I believe, last season, and yeah, and then Jorge here took a season off last season, but he's cooking. He's a very fast driver, and his position so far in the standings is I think he's top 10 right now in the standings, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, what he could. I mean, he could put down some solid times when you know he gets in a solid lap. So
check the standings right now, and he is indeed in 10th place, 151.5 points, only 6 behind Guy Manperson, and only 8 ahead of Jeff Spangler. So he's got some quick company.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, another, it looks like a Ferrari back there going wide as well. I mean, that is a common place to go wide.
It very much is. You're going to see drivers, I think, going wide as they try to push the limits here many times. Fazli Majid, another quick driver who we've seen a couple of stories developing with this particular one over the course of the week on a valid improvement right now, about 5/10 on a 145.1 in the NSX. Strong car here, and goes into P3 right after Bailey Kitch actually set the pole time of a 143.962. Incredibly strong, 5/10, half second faster than Joel Moffat.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed is he's also in the pits, so I don't know if he's just calling it quits. Looks like
He's coming out.
Oh, he's coming out again. Okay, so he's just a quick tire change. I mean, it is hot. Tire wear is strong around this track, especially with those left tires. You know, when it's a little bit warmer, those left tires are usually just absolutely screaming, and so you know, it would be definitely optimal to go in and change your tires. And I mean, they wake up quickly around here, so.
Very true. Brandon Chan on a valid improvement, 3/10 up. I'm on board with Selena Boonstra right now. Currently in P15 with a 145.4, but improving near about half a second. We'll see what she can do. Queasy is also improving just a little bit further up the field. You can see Boonstra maximizing that track just behind. That's exactly what we were talking about. That one corner, just so critical to your lap time. You have to send it if you want to put in your best lap. But especially with the tire wear, as you were just talking about, you know, it's not surprising that we've seen drivers in the pits getting a fresh pair of rubber, just because you're going to wear them out very quickly, especially with aggressive qualifying setups that some cars do have, including the Porsche. It's very common for drivers to run something with a little bit more toe in the front and the rear in order to get the maximum performance over a couple of laps before they're just completely done for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially the Porsche at this track. I mean, those rears, especially the left rear, you know, just really does not like this track. You know, it's, you know, not a ton of the tracks, you know, I mean, you know, I'm D2 pace, so you know, I may be speaking from that perspective, but you know, not a lot of the tracks, you know, do you have to come in to get a new tires, you know, within a 10-minute qualifying session. But this is definitely one of those tracks that it would probably benefit, you know, most drivers to do so. Just like I said, you know, you could wake up those tires real quick. You know, some tracks it takes a little while, and you know, just with turns like even this one, you know, it's a slightly slower turn still, but that's gonna still be hard on your left tires. I mean, there's so many sweeping right-handers in this track that just, you know, yeah, your left tires take a huge beating.
Especially if you're trying to, you know, find the limit of grip. This specific corner that you were talking about in that very moment, it's not necessarily about what that corner will do to your tires, but what that corner will do for your lap times if your tires have already been worn out, right? Because you're trying to get that traction down, but the outside tire is so much more loaded than the inside tire, but the outside tire is also way more worn down than the inside tire, and then you've got this big disparity in your car in terms of weight distribution, and things start to become problematic for you. So it's very easy to see in that perspective why drivers might go for an extra set during the qualifying session. And while we've been talking, Blasini Rivera has actually challenged Kitch's time with a 144.092. It's a little bit more than a 10th off of pole position right now. But Rivera a screaming lap time, and will more likely than not have one more go around. Colin Dunham rambling over the curb there in the final chicane. It's going to lose him a fair bit of time. Joel Moffat, I'm seeing, has just done the exact same thing immediately behind. They'll both improve, but only by a little bit, and most likely not for very many positions. That's 2 there for Dunham, and Moffat coming across the line right now will actually also take 2. So there you go. I guess it wasn't as bad as I thought. Majid is up in the P2 now. Everybody's just jumping around here.
Yeah, everybody's finding time out here. Yeah, those Ferraris I wouldn't think would be the type of cars that would, like to take that much curbing, but obviously, it's working for them, and I'm not a Ferrari driver, so I guess I don't know too well.
I guess the 296 versus the 488 Evo difference. I do imagine the newer generation car is probably going to be a little bit more satisfied with the curbing. I'm on with Brandon Cham right now, but hang on. I'm going to jump over to Bailey Kish, who is presently on a valid improvement. He's up about a 10th at the end of Sector 1 into the hairpin. It looks like it might have been a little bit wide there.
Yeah.
He carries some good speed and still actually gains the tiniest little bit of time as the checkered flag waves. This is the last opportunity. Boostra has just returned to the pits, misses the apex curbing there by a little bit, but still just trying to maintain this 1/10 advantage as he goes towards the line. Majid is currently in the pit, so the closest car behind is not improving on track right now. Blasini Rivera is down 2/10 on his lap time, and it looks like he's coming to a stop off on the side of the track, so he's out of contention. Kish right now is just playing for bragging rights.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna want to, still. I mean, even if you're in pole position, you're still gonna want to, improve as much as you can, just to try to keep that position, locked up and secured. And it looks like, I mean, he's keeping things clean, especially through this third sector. He was missing some of those, running a tiny bit wide through some of the apexes, but it looks like it's working out pretty well for him as he sees in a bit of a improvement there, and locks in that so far.
There's a lot of drivers who've been out on track that we haven't really had an opportunity to say the name of. Colin Dunham sniped P2 away from Majid just a little bit ago as we were watching Bailey Kish go across the line. So a quality lap there. And not only does that put Dunham into P2, but critically for Kish, that puts Dunham ahead of Robinson. Robinson, the closest championship rival for Bailey Kish right now, down in P6 as the last of the couple of drivers come across the line. Spangler right now on a valid lap, but not necessarily improving by much presently. And it looks like he was actually across the line after the checkered flag anyhow. So we'll take a look back here at how things have gone. Do excuse me, I'm still coming a little bit off the illness here, but a quality qualifying session.
Yeah, absolutely. There was Neil Sutherland there at the end there with quite a bigger improvement, a good 7-place jump there to P8. So yeah, great qualifying session from these drivers.
Taken to the grid now. Checking out the car variety that we have near the front end. It's actually, my race control looks like it's got a little bit of a pattern. I think I'm just seeing things though. We've got BMW, Ferrari, Honda, McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, Honda, Mustang, McLaren, Mustang, Ferrari, McLaren. There's a lot of the same car at the front.
yeah,
Except
there
for
is.
Kish.
Yeah. He's kind of the only one, keeping up the making things different for most of the. I mean, it's not terrible. You do have to go down pretty far though to start seeing a bit of a difference. Down in P13 with Martin Smith there in the Mercedes, and then the next BMW in P16 there with Velasquez there, and then we got some Porsches after that.
Yep, the Porsche Cup here in the midfield, the number 7 of Boonstra. And then it's the 551 of Roundy Burns. And then Jacob Boosterski, which again is a new name out on the field to me at least. So interesting scenes. Further down, you got Koval in the 992, but there are a heck of a lot of McLarens out in the field I'm seeing right now. In fact, there's quite a few manufacturers that aren't even represented on the field. I mean, what are we missing? We're missing Audi,
we're missing Lexus.
Aston, Lexus, no GTRs.
That's a big one for me. Yeah.
I feel like we're missing everything. No Lamborghinis. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we definitely, you know, in ACC, we got the cars, you know, strong. We do try to keep things, you know, balanced with the BOP, but, you know, obviously some cars, you know, will try to gravitate towards other cars. Now, the Honda isn't necessarily usually a you know, it's a wild car to drive, but it's not necessarily the strongest at a lot of tracks.
I know for a fact that it's at least somewhat strong here, just
It
because
is,
of the nature
yeah.
of the circuit, a little bit
For
traction
sure.
heavy, as opposed to the top end. But the BMW still leads off the field here. It's going to be difficult for anybody to overtake Bailey Kiss just due to the machinery difference. That M4 is going to be stronger in the straights, but not necessarily in the corners. So we'll see if anybody has anything to say about that one. As we roll towards the start-finish line, the grid of all 37 cars with Jason Allen, I might add, at the back as we go green. And they are racing here at Barcelona for League in a Week. It's race number 1 of round 4, and Majid is looking to get a move on here immediately behind Bailey Kish. They are going near about 3 wide over into turn 1, and Majid will have to stay behind the BMW presently speaking, but further back things are just going off the rails, including a car off at turn 1 already.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Rivera had to take a slight avoiding action, was understeering a bit, and decided to just bail out of the corner, which, you know, rather than try to hold it. And as we're 3 wide again, almost 4 wide in the back there. Oh, yeah, 3 wide. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's really close there with Selena Boonstra. She definitely likes to, you know, get close. You know, a controller driver, and one with a lot of pace there.
Indeed, and oh, that would look like a very brave move there. I think that was Boosterski there for a second, who was looking up the inside. Now has a Mustang to contend with on the outside there, and contact is made. Oh, that was a good save for the Porsche. That was Rowdy Burns.
Saved. Yeah, nice well saved there from Rowdy Burns, and you know that's a tricky car to save drifts like that. But yeah, well saved there. You know, with these first laps, sometimes it's a little tricky. You know, some people are not as likely to, you know, look at the car in front, you know, and rather than going for their normal braking markers, and sometimes that can cause a lot of issues on this opening lap.
Try to follow the Deltas here, and I did notice there was a bigger incident further back in the field, but I didn't want to go back too far and lose out on some of the action like what we see on the main straight here. They're thinking about it 3 wide again. That's Boonstra alongside Byron and Worley, and Worley's going to take up the inside in that Mustang. Just the overpower from that Ford muscle past the 992, but they can't hold it up the inside. It looks like things are going to get a little bit interesting here into the turn 2-3 complex, and Selena Boucher's hanging around the outside. Very difficult thing to do, and now she might get boxed in against the car in the outside in front. That's Byron again as they go 2 by 2 through turn 3 and looking into turn 4. Almost contact made. I don't know how in the world they're keeping this.
Yeah, that's amazing there. Velasquez really, you know, trying to take advantage of the battling in front, you know, which it's, you know, that oftentimes leaves a good opportunity, but it looks like they've single filed out through here through the sector 2 complex, which is good because that is not a place that you want to go side by side through.
We're tracking this so much it feels like we're watching the battle for the lead, but that has already cooled down a little bit here, and I think finally we're going to have a little bit of a relaxed moment in towards the braking zone for this hairpin. We'll take a look and see how things have developed. Lucina Rivera is down in 5th right now, and Majid has lost the tail of Kish in front. I can't help but wonder if it was due to a little bit of battling that we might have missed at the front, and contact is made. Majid is around, done him. Oh no, disaster strikes. You could not ask for a worse result in that chicane. Oh, you just gotta be more patient than that, Colin.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit eager there on the brakes, you know, to get a good run through the main straight. But yeah, Jeep getting it turned around rather quickly. You know, fell back down to P10. Of course, that's a big hit, but it could be definitely worse.
I've just seen Lombardo is in the pits right now. I don't know if that was an RTG or might be serving a drive-through that I believe he got off of the race start, more likely than not for starting position. I don't know if you can actually get a drive-through for too much speed off the start. I can only imagine there's some sort of penalty, but I've never seen one myself. So his race is going to take quite a big hit, but he's still out on track.
Yeah, I believe that was for starting position. I remember seeing that right at the start there, and so you have 3 laps to take that drive-through, and it looks like he's opting to take it a little bit later.
Taking a look here at Brandon Chen, who was closely followed by Neil Sutherland in that Mustang. Power differential here going to be quite a story for these cars. We've already seen that kind of taking shape on a couple of occasions so far this race, specifically in the Mustang versus the rear engine vehicles. So I wonder if this P6 is going to be more of a defensive P6 for Brandon Chen.
Yeah, I mean, the Mustang is definitely a bit of a weapon around here, on the fast bits. It's not going to turn nearly as well as the Honda is going to, at a lot of those, especially through Sector 2, that complex through there. But you definitely have to watch out for it on, on an exit, like that, and going out onto the back straight here. But it looks like Neil, maybe not quite getting the exit that he would have liked out of T last there.
It was interesting. We were just talking about that gap coming down a little bit, and then Chan must have gotten the better part of the snaky section, but the Mustang is going to be a little bit weaker. Further down the field here, Movo behind Rowdy Burns, who did meet that little bit of an incident. Spangler up against Yaren, which is a phrase I don't think many people in the OBDA community were probably expecting me to say tonight, but it looks like Yaren is going to think better about battling this one for too long, taking the wide line in towards turn 2 and tucking in behind.
Yeah, I believe I saw Spangler. He was supposed to start P9, but I believe he started from the pits. And so, looking for a bit of a recovery. I don't know if he did that on purpose or if he just, didn't hit drive. Well, my guess, knowing Spangler, he probably did it on purpose, but who knows?
Jan up behind Moffat here.
Moffat going defensive there, and as we're a bit side by side from the McLarens in front as well, with Robinson and Blasini Rivera.
This is a relatively close-knit front of the field. I wonder if the dirty air is having a little bit of an effect on the drivers here. Of course, it's a little bit more impactful on the front end. And I say of course, but that's something I had to be told personally. So shout out to Fazley, who actually gave me that little tidbit of info. Unfortunately for him, the race hasn't exactly panned out the way that he would like. But it's also a for fun type of league that we run here for a league in a week. So hopefully he's got a bit of a chore in front of him, but he can have some fun doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, P10 really is a decent, especially when you look at a lot of these drivers. These are some fast drivers up here, too. So, which also makes it, a bit harder to make it back through the field. And it looks like with, we're watching this battle back here with Neil Sutherland, but it looks like Bailey Kish has taken a 3-second lead. We're almost halfway through. We got the 2 20-minute races, but still a 3-second lead. This quickly on Colin Dunham right now. That's a pretty solid lead.
Indeed, Kish more likely than not going to be wrapping up the championship if he can keep up this kind of pace for the remainder of race number 1 as well as race number 2. So he's sitting very pretty right now. No question about that. Majid is still shaping up for a little bit of a move against Martin Smith in front. Has not made up any positions since that spin. I wonder if he did take a little bit of damage on the rears. And speaking of getting a little bit loose on the rear, that was Byron, who was sliding very slightly there in the early parts of Sector 3, or excuse me, the late parts of Sector 2. Maybe a little bit late on the brakes there. And Brewster is stiffing up behind this. So you got to be careful about making that happen. It looks like we might have missed the move here. Martin Smith overtaken by Majid. I'm going to see if I can get that back 15 seconds and see if we got the overtaken. There it was on the inside out the hairpin. Nice move for the 712 machine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely one of the best kind of passing opportunities of this track. Going into that hairpin on the back straight, and that's one. I don't know if Martin Smith, it didn't look like he really defended it much. As we're going side by side now with Neil Sutherland and Joel Moffitt. Seeing they go side by side through T1. But the Mustang backs out a little bit. I mean, that's a bit wise. It's not going to, it's going to have quite a bit more understeer than the Ferrari will around there. So you don't want to push it too hard.
That much is true, but Neil had a lot of overlap. I wonder how brave Joel had to be on the brakes in order to stick that around the outside, still carry that speed through. I think Neil might have expected Joel to kind of let it happen, and maybe was caught off guard, or maybe indeed he did back out. But I feel like Sutherland probably would have anticipated there might be a little bit of a battle for that one. Still very well held,
They're
though,
close.
for Moffat.
These drivers are close here, and really, almost a train being formed up here behind, I think his name is Santa Queasy right now. he keeps it thematic, Jay Queasy here. But yeah, a little bit of a train forming behind him with some space, between him and Martin. He's going pretty defensive here into the hairpin. So we're side by side with Ian and Selena behind. It's like, ooh, and again, that's opening up for Velasquez there on the inside. And I think we're back in the single file here.
That was bold, though, of Boonstra.
Yeah. That was, yeah. Well, and it's in situations like this, you go immediately from attacking, as she's attacking with Ian, to defending. And speaking of defending, here we got Jay Queasy here defending the inside of T1. Wonder if he's going pretty brave, going deep. Is the Mustang going to be able to hold it? It's going to be on the outside now, which is not a great spot for the Mustang. Looks like Jay Queasy is going to be able to hold that position for now. But it looks like he's immediately going defensive now for, what is that, turn 4?
Yeah, there's just too much going on. I was just going to go
too many battles
to an alternative battle that's going on kind of further down in this very same train. I'm noticing as well, Spangler and Cockcroft kind of going at it here in the back with Johnston just in front of them. So there's another gap that's starting to come down, but it's really all about that train that we've been keeping our eyes on. It's Colin Dunham, who's about 4.5 seconds behind Kish, and then has a 2 or so second gap to Blasini Rivera behind. And there still is a little bit of contest going on near the front of the field in the top 5 with Travis Robinson. But this is what we're looking for right now on the outside. And Worley is looking for this move. They want to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, Ian gets totally, takes advantage of that situation there with Worley and is able to take that position, just really snatch it away from him. And yeah, Worley goes from attacking Queasy to and it looks like at some point Velasquez got past Selena as well. Oh, as we got a late dive from the Mustang behind, having to go over the sausage curb. Yeah, this train is definitely providing a lot of entertainment for us.
This is insanity. I think my race control's even a little bit confused because it had Queasy still up behind all of this, but now you got one of the slowest cars in the straight leading this little bit of 3, and Byron is gonna have a little bit of a contest going down here to turn 1. You can't break too late if you're the Mustang because you have to watch out for the Ferrari in front. Out the inside now for turn 2 goes Byron. Oh, huge contact! He lost the back end and into the rear quarter of the Mustang of Worley, and they're both arounds now, and that's a terrible position to rejoin in too. Oh no.
Yeah, that's a really, really tough spot to rejoin because it's relatively quick and hard to see. That, yeah, that's terrible for those two. Definitely not how you want to see it. That McLaren is so hard to hold slides in. It's not like a lot of the front engine cars, especially like the Mustang, where you can hold slides through it. But yeah, it looks like that not going optimally for those two.
It was wonderful side-by-side racing, very respectful, and then, the rear tire just decided, what if we weren't gripping up, though? And that was the end of the story. Very unfortunate. You saw Byron was very willing to let the Mustang go back on track in front, even though he was able to recover earlier on. That's the kind of sportsmanship that we do expect here in SRA. A little bit of a wide moment there for the BMW in front of Boonstra. That's Velasquez. but I don't think there's going to be a punishment off of this. And I believe the last time we actually tuned in on this battle, Velasquez was behind Boonstra, so maybe a move being completed there.
Yeah, I think that happened last lap. You know, there's too many battles to keep track of all of the overtakes, especially in this tight train. But yeah, Velasquez getting past Selena somehow within the last lap.
Jeez, look at that power difference as well. Selena did have a slight move over into the gravel, Spanish adventure, if you will, and will lose quite a bit of time. But the problem is if you're not gaining. You know, if your lap delta isn't significant enough in the corners, then of course you're going to lose out to the M4 in the straights, but you can see how much time she did gain there. The turn 1-2 complex. It looks like the BMW might have had some struggles. Speaking of struggles, those tires are starting to go. You can see it there for Selena. She's just begging for grip on the outside there.
Yeah, it's you know, not super, you know, we've only been racing for about 15 minutes, but that's honestly enough for especially the Porsche to start, you know, losing grip on those outside tires. But yeah, you definitely see with the Porsche, you know, gaining pretty much all that distance she lost there on the braking especially, you know, and yeah, as you can see here, you know, she's able to keep up. You know, granted, you know, some of this is pace being from Jay Queasy here, but yeah, but that's another car that's going to be, you know, pretty strong through that second sector.
Oh dear. Oh, that's contact.
Velasquez, yeah.
If Velasquez takes the position. Oh,
it takes the position.
Oh no, that's a yellow card, sir. Oh no, you can't do that. Was late on the brakes, hit the Ferrari. The Ferrari didn't lose control, and he just took it anyway. I wonder if he's going to let it back on the straight. Perhaps didn't want to lose to Boonstra. That I could see. But we see you. We see you, brother. You better do the right thing. Oh,
yeah, we're watching, always watching. But yeah, that was definitely. I mean, I don't know if he's letting off or is he just going defensive.
I think
here?
he might. Oh, he's
just going defensive.
Oh no, but Boonstra's having some trouble. Oh,
yep,
all the time.
side by side.
What was that, Jay? What was that, my brother?
He's trying to get back.
Hang on, I need to see this. I need to see this again. Here we go. The dive of the century in from Jay Queasy. Oh no. Oh no. We
wild
saw that.
dive
4K
there.
Ultra HD. You've been caught, brother. Oh no.
Yeah, I guess he's I mean, I don't know if he was intending to go that deep. He might have been slightly seeing red. I'm sure he wasn't super happy with what conspired on the back straight, but yeah, that definitely.
I mean, the way that Velasquez was shaping up, he did look like he brake flayed and was waiting on the turn-in, too, so I wonder if Queasy was expecting the BMW to give him the inside line to return the position.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
Maybe just a lapse in concentration. That's very possible. Yeah, just in the chat. Whoa, yeah, we're of the same opinion. That Mustang actually almost looked like they were looking at the back of the Porsche in front. And it's Pinkert, who didn't have necessarily a spectacular qualifying, but finds themselves up in P14 with Spangler behind. It's a difficult car to keep behind at that. And I don't necessarily expect them to be able to do so for long. The McLaren just so strong in a variety of aspects.
Yeah, especially with Spangler behind the wheel. You know, he's very familiar with that car. In fact, I don't know if I've ever even been on track, at least, with him in a different car. And so, yeah, looking to shape up. Although the Mustang, you see the Mustang power just really not... The McLaren really not able to get anywhere on that main straight. It looked like he got a good however, against a Ferrari, it's going to be a little bit different of a story.
Yeah, there you
with
go.
Panzo, yeah, getting to be able to nice, clean, textbook overtake into turn 1 there.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Take notes, folks. Very nice move there by Panzo. Not the first time that we've seen on screen for him, by the way. But first one we got the chance to call that was unfortunate there for Spangler. Bit uncharacteristic too. I mean, we talk about the experience of this driver not only in this car but just in general. And for Spangler to have a bit of a slide there, he's slightly out of character, but he's really only shaping up for 1 or 2 more potential positions to gain here with 1 minute to go. And that is a huge run out of the middle sector, but this is not an overtaking opportunity by really any stretch of the imagination. The 850 does go narrow, and Spangler hangs it around the outside. What?
Amazing pass there from Jeff Spangler. Yeah, I was not expecting. I was kind of expecting just to throw off Pinkert there, and let him. Oh man, but he just goes for it. He's like, I mean, it's league in a week. Why not?
That's badass for you, right there. That's the man, Jeff Spangler. That's at least the avatar. So he's already up behind Selena Boonstrom. We'll have to see if she can manage to keep him behind. But that was a bold move. I think Pinkert might have underestimated the amount of grip that was available there on the outside, and Spangler's already got a mega run here on the number 7 machine of Selena Boonstrom. I don't think this is going to be a contest unless you defend the inside, but she stays out on the racing line, and Spangler's going to say thank you very much right up the inside. I wonder if the Porsche behind is actually going to try and get a look. A little bit of argy-bargy coming through in the carbon fiber Porsche Booster Ski. He's trying to get in on the action now and gets past Boonstra. There could even be a run here for Pinkert.
Yeah, that was a bit of a having to deal with it. Oh yeah, and it looks like Pinkert is getting a fantastic run. Is going to have the inside here into turn 4, and Butra hangs it around the outside, but those tires are done at this point. 20 lap old tires of basically constant battling. Those outside, like I said, this track is so hard on the left tires, and it looks like they're pretty done.
There's still a chance though. One mistake here from Pinkert could allow the Porsche back through, and it looks like everybody's starting to struggle on their tires. The Mustang has not necessarily been famous for its ability to preserve the rubber. So we'll see how things shape out for them here. The 850 machine, and Selena is going a little bit wide there in the middle sector, but it looks like we might be starting to get into finishing formation here. I'm noticing a couple of gaps further down the field that are still kind of developing, so I'll hop on board right now with Rory just behind Santa Queasy, and this has been a little bit of a faded battle. Worley, who has been overtaken fairly this time by Queasy, I believe, but that Ferrari is most likely going to have a little bit of damage. The checkered flag is waving, and Kish did take it. So a big congratulations to him for the P1 finish. He hasn't really been the star of the show so far tonight, but Colin Dunham and Blasini Rivera round out the podium in P2 and P3 respectively. Very nice.
Yeah, solid. I mean, we didn't get to see them much because it was a solid race from them. Sometimes you kind of want that. Just clean air. Don't have to worry about too much argy-bargy with other drivers like we've been seeing in this midfield.
Coming across the line now, and it's going to be a little bit of single file. No photo finishes here, it looks like, as most of the drivers do make it across without much fanfare. That was an interesting race. We've still got 20 more minutes with a similar grid coming up before long here. So as the last drivers come across the line, I personally need to stand up and grab a cup of water here before the next race starts. I'll tell you that for free. But let's talk about some stories. So I did notice Amos Movo did get a drive-through penalty. He's got yet to come across the line at all, actually. The same went for Lombardo, who's one of the quicker drivers in the field, but ends up finishing down here in 35th to get that drive-through penalty off of the start for being out of position. Boonstra overtaken many times there on the last lap. Majid fought back up into 7th position. Joel Moffat did end up losing out one. Travis Robinson could not fight back against Kish, and Kish extends his championship lead by a fair margin here in the 4th to last race of the league in a week season. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to us now. And Donovan, I'm going to have to give it to you for a second because I got to go grab a glass of water. I'll be right back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, an exciting race there. Like I said, we didn't get to see too much of the front runners. Again, that's kind of mostly because they had such a clean race, from that front, mostly popping off in that midfield. And then also Jeff Spangler there. Like I said, I believe he had a pit lane start, whether that was self-inflicted or not, I don't know. But P12 finish at the end of that for him. So obviously he's got, some serious pace as usual, but yeah, keeping things definitely interesting for us there. But yeah, solid first race, and then we get another 20-minute race to come.
Oh boy! All right. Dang.
A lot going on with that race, though. I mean, always keeping it interesting. League in a Week is always entertaining. I mean, we get such a wide variety of skill and from different divisions. This is where one of the opportunities the admins get let us all play together, and yeah, it keeps things interesting for us.
I think interesting is that's about as gentle of a term as you could use. That was, I think, a little bit more than interesting.
For sure.
Maybe a little too interesting.
Hey, sometimes it gets like, really wild. With League in a Week, it can get rather. Overall, that was keeping things relatively clean. It can be with the big gap between divisions and skill levels. Sometimes it's a little hard to keep things clean because you're racing with drivers who you don't typically race with, who are different pace than you race with usually, and that could be a little challenging to keep things clean sometimes. But overall, I mean, they did a pretty good job keeping things clean that race.
Well, it certainly gave us a lot to look at, and just kind of taking a look down here at the field, seeing we haven't really had a chance to really look at the liveries, I don't think. Selena, who still famously refuses to change her livery to the right number. I told her about this not so long ago in the League in a Week server, and she still refuses. So shout-outs,
yeah, calling her out.
We got Cockcroft here in the wonderful Irish colors here in that Porsche. In the Plan E logo. That's not the Ferrari logo, everybody. That is Plan E Racing. Which, I'll take that as you will. Rounding out the field all the way to back here. Wonderful scenes.
Oh,
wait,
it looks like
hang on. That was...
We had a Lexus for a second there.
The Phantom Lexus. Where in the world did that come from?
Oh, man.
Queasy,
I mean, I'd love to see some Lexus, but yeah, who was that?
Queasy just pinged us in the chat. That was Stefan Buckley, who's in the pit lane. As we go towards the line, but Queasy pinged us, Donovan, mentioning that we caught the red haze live on stream. So there you go, Queasy.
Yeah, there it was. Yeah.
Spalikish took P1 in the last race, more or less as an opportunity to wrap up the League in a Week championship right here at Barcelona for race number 2. They come towards the start-finish line, and hopefully for Fazli Majid, this one goes a little bit better. The green flag waves, and we're underway yet again. That NSX immediately up behind Bailey Kish. They're already 3 wide, heading towards turn 1. I think the drivers have gotten all the jitters out this time. Kish very defensive on the inside as Blasini Rivera looks to take the outside line here, but will have to settle, I think, for 4th as they go through turns 1 and 2, and they're getting huge argy-bargy going on in the background.
Yeah, it looks like Jay Queasy, I think, there. Or, yeah, getting a really, coming out on top there with a 3 wide. Yeah, the definitely. No, I was just gonna say keeping it pretty clean, but yeah, already going very deep into turn fair, and yeah, definitely caused a casualty there.
Yeah. Well, I guess Colin Dunham not going to have the race that he was hoping for this go around. That's why we have 2, I guess, but unfortunately, for you, there's no other opportunity after this one, and they continue to be very close, almost nose to tail. Boonstra not necessarily having an amazing race start so far, but still up 2 positions. She had actually quite a good race, all things considered, compared to her qualifying position in the last go-around, but she's looking for more this time. See if she can find it. Queasy is keeping it clean here through the hairpin. Has Velasquez on the inside. Hello, Velasquez. Let's hope that we don't get any major contact going on this go-around.
Yeah, these two had a bit of a history in the last race. Velasquez looked like not going for the move completely, trying to just set off Jayqueezy there a bit, and kind of working, but not, in the end of it, Jayqueezy holding that position.
Very close gap here. Neil Sutherland up the inside of Jeff Spangler towards turn 1. This looks like a case of the Mustang overpowered, but I think if he lifts off of that one and chooses to go in single file, potentially not wanting to open up the opportunity for the car behind to initiate an attack, and it looks like the gap is going to be there, at least for the time being. So it might have been a good call on his part. Spangler shaping up for a move here against Brandon Chan. Blasini Rivera is still close behind Joel Moffat, but Majid has allowed about a second gap to open up to Kish in front, and Moffat is about a second behind that. So it looks like our top 3 might be set in stone here for the time being. I'm gonna hop on board Pinkard. Looks like they just made a move happen against, that was Zip and Rowdy Burns they're going near about side by side with, but it looks like they've got that one secured in towards turn 5.
Yeah, absolutely. They're yeah, taking advantage of that that Mustang power there, and yeah, speaking of Mustang power, it looks like Neil could have maybe a tiny bit of a run here on, yeah, Jeff going half defensive. I don't think Neil, you know, is going to be fighting this too hard on Jeff. Just judging by how he lifted on the main straight there, my guess is he's one to, ooh, as we got quite a cluster here, Mustang and Porsches.
Every time we switch off of the one fight, it immediately turns into the other fight, you know, going close. I don't
Yeah,
get
that's
it.
just how it is.
Oh, big
That's
slide.
how it always is. Yeah, big slide from Rowdy Burns there. He's going a bit deeper there into the chicane kind of complex, which allows Pinkard there just all of the space, and which definitely is nice. You know, you want that, the cars behind you to battle.
Oh, Blasini Rivera looking for a move. That's turn 1 against the Ferrari Moffat. Contact is made, I think. And Blasini Rivera is around in one of the worst spots on the track. And I'm gonna take
honestly,
that just real fast.
I can't think of a worse spot to be trying to find your way. It looks like, yeah, he just went a bit deep there. Moffat left the space, not a ton of extra space, but enough space. So it looks like, yeah, Blasini Rivera just going to, you know, biting off a little bit more than he could chew there with that dive.
And that's, excuse me, Selena Boonstra is up in 11th place right now. Okay, well, we clearly must have missed a fair bit of action, because the last time we were checking it, she was in 15th, although it looks like she's going to drop one here to Brandon Chan up the inside. Oh, she's
holding it on the outside.
He was on there for the number 7. Chan still wants it on the outside of the fast right-hander that we saw earlier on. Spangler made the move on, but it's not quite there for Chan. What a fight.
Yeah, what a brave move there from Selena, and she's not even going to go to defensive. I don't think she needs it at this point. She definitely got the better run there on the outside, and although I say that, she did get the better run, and Brandon Chan looked like, you know, he was looking on the outside there, but yeah, he's going to be looking at it for this on the main straight here.
It's difficult to get the run, though, and I think part of the reason at least, that Selena didn't necessarily feel the need to go defensive off the middle straight is because the NSX just really is not that powerful on the brakes. And we've seen on multiple occasions actually so far tonight, although we haven't really talked about it, is just the fact that the NSX does not feel comfortable going for overtakes unless you've already got that overlap by the time you make it into the braking zone. Sure, you can achieve that overlap by turn-in, but only if you are absolutely setting it. Speaking of, Jacob Boosterski going for it. Oh, wow, and a little bit more than that. Both of them are turned the wrong direction just about. They're facing the right way now, but that was more than they can handle. That was Worley and Boosterski.
Yeah, that looked relatively well held for the two of them. Yeah, it's just a tiny tap. That is ACC things, you know. Just the tiniest tap could, you know, send both cars there. But yeah, relatively pointing. You know, it didn't have to lose quite, you know, too much, fortunately, but definitely not what they were looking for there.
I think it might have been a situation of Worley. Looks like obviously it was offline for the 992 on the inside, not exactly in prime position. But I think the Mustang may have just thought that they were a tiny little bit more clear of the car than they thought, tried to take the racing line, and ended up with contact on the rear quarter panel. Certainly wouldn't be the first time that the radar has lied to somebody about where a car is. You can tell I'm not salty about the Red Bull Ring incident that I had last season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember.
definitely a famous moment from yours truly, driving across the nose of another car and crashing out of the lead on my own. Fazli Majid has actually been closing down the gap here to Bailey Kish. Well, I won't say closing down the gap, but keeping it steady around 1 second. Joel Moffat trails that by about 3, so there might yet be a fight for the lead in the cards. This is not Blicina Rivera, that's Robinson defending against Jeff Spangler, or should I say allowing Jeff Spangler through, not really offering much of a defensive shape, and that might be a situation just recognizing that the driver behind you is going to be a little bit stronger on pace, and with 12 minutes to go, you're more or less going to have to let him by eventually.
Yeah, that looked like, you know, more focusing on the bigger picture rather than just that, you know, battle. Ooh, a little bit argy-bargy. That is not a place you want to be in the Mustang.
Curious what happened there. I'm going to take it back.
Yeah, look.
This is Zipper Burn up the inside of, I believe that's Pinkard, and Rowdy Burns behind.
Yeah.
And we saw Zip getting a little bit out of shape here.
Yeah.
Inside, yeah.
I wonder what his traction control situation is there, because he didn't look like he slid a bunch, but his traction control might have been just eating up a ton of power.
Very true, very true. Hopping on board with a train that I really didn't notice the Dells on until just now. This is This is Jeremy Uren leading Pat Cockcraft, Panzer Rigatoni, Joshua Worley, Martin Smith, Colin Dunham, Aiden Burke, and Jason Allen in a train. What in the world is this?
Yeah, that is quite the group of drivers there. You know, Dunham really trying to make up some ground from that lap 1 incident.
I kept going down the list of like the names of drivers that were in this train, and every time it was like, that's a strong driver, that's a strong driver. What in the world's going on here? Why are they down to like 20th position? This is another situation of Jeremy Uren. It was the same in Imola. It's like for no apparent reason in front of a bunch of drivers who would historically be considered to be stronger than him. But he's holding out in the 48 Evo. What a champion.
Yeah, love to see it. Love to see it. I mean, definitely has you know some pace that can really show itself occasionally, and you know he's able to hold these drivers and really make them fight for their positions back here as we have Worley down the inside. It looks like pretty much just textbook there on Panzo Rigatoni. So yeah, able to keep things totally clean there.
Smith having a little bit of a go with Colin Dunham as well, and the outside line's not going to be favorable there. And I wonder if Aiden Burke is going to try to have a look up the inside. I don't think the NSX ever really had a proper run on that one. It has company from behind, so you can't get too aggressive on that front.
Especially when it's Jason Allen, right?
Oh, that's a good move, Martin. Keeping Colin Dunham honest with the narrow line there, but did leave enough space, and Colin took it. Quality racing.
Yeah, really strong pass there from Colin Dunham, and it looks like Martin Smith getting a little bit wide there and having a hard time putting down the power there in the Mercedes. Really sniffing up the back of Cockcraft here, and looks like he's going to have a good run. I mean, Cockcraft immediately going defensive.
And you need to.
Yeah, you definitely, especially in that Mustang. However, that Mustang going a tiny bit deep there is going to slightly open to Panzo, but then Panzo offline might open himself to Colin Dunham behind. I mean, that's just the interesting thing with battles like that. You go immediately from attacking to defending.
It's like the whole new layer, right? You know, when you start driving in these kinds of GT3 cars, many people, myself included, you know, we start off by doing hot lapping, right? You know, you just race the line, you just race the line, you just race the line. Then you add another layer of complexity with another car, being able to battle them, recognize how they're positioning their vehicle, how you're positioning your vehicle to try to make those passes happen. And then you add on a whole nother layer of there are other cars behind me, and not only am I battling the guy in front of me, but I'm battling the guy behind me, and then the guy behind them, and it becomes a whole thing, and that's why racecraft is really so difficult at the end of the day. We did see a little bit of an off. I think that was a Ferrari in the background. I'm unsure. It wasn't Jason Allen. It wasn't Rodriguez. I think it might have been Aiden Burke in the NSX. But this kind of situation that all these drivers are in right now, he's the perfect example of like, this is one of the greatest tests that you'll ever have as a racing driver. And Rigatoni's actually kept Colin Dunham at bay, still in towards the middle of Sector 2. And I have to say I'm a little bit surprised. Dunham is an incredibly solid driver. Panzo is still finding the ways to keep him behind. It's even look for a shape here against Cockcroft.
Yeah, I mean, he did the opposite. You know, went straight from defending to attacking. But what looks like Colin is definitely going to take advantage of the space given there and going to take that position from Panzo. And Panzo is immediately under attack from Martin Smith there on the outside. I don't know if the that was a interesting dive, and unfortunately Pat Cockcroft there going to lose out a few positions there from that dive and a little bit of an argy-bargy there into the chicane complex there.
Yeah, I think Dunham might have been a little bit overzealous there, but I think he was alongside, and you know that would be one for the stewards if this is a team series race. Unfortunately, there is no penalties going to be applied. The only penalty that's applied is Jason Allen getting past you, which I guess is a little bit ironic in a way. I think that's symbolic, at least.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it looks like he took a lot of curb there. I don't know if Pat's going to be able to take advantage of that. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he will there. But yeah, I mean, keeping things tight here, nonetheless.
And Jeremy's kind of developed a little bit of a gap to the car behind him. So one of the two Yaron brothers, the 2-second gap currently sitting in P19. Whoa, what in the world was that? Aiden Burke, hello?
And not working out in the end, but what an attempt of it. Yeah, that very late dive there. It looks like he was just super close, and yeah, it was a bit of a opportunistic, a bit of a overzealous dive. No harm, no foul in the end. But yeah, it was.
Oh, Donovan, you okay there, brother?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
was I cutting out or something?
I think you might have had your audio jack or whatever. Just had a bit of a moment, but you're okay now. So welcome back.
All right.
We haven't had much of a chance to really look at the rest of the field. We've been spending so much time on that train, and Brandon, whoa, swinging well wide into the inside there, leaving plenty of space for the Ferrari. Almost Movo is having a much better race this go around than in race one. Selena Boonstra is actually just a little bit behind this. You can see her just barely on screen behind here.
Having a much quieter race this race than last race. It seems like the super tight train has been elsewhere. Speaking of that train,
just gotta keep going back onto it because there's always some sort of overtake happening.
Yeah, absolutely. This time it's Worley, coming down into the inside into turn 4 on Colin Dunham. And is he going to be able to make it stick? Colin Dunham really hanging it around the outside, which is in turn going to give him the inside here for this hairpin. And Worley kind of hanging around the outside. That's going to open him up a little bit to Panzo behind, but not really. Panzo, not forcing his way too much because he's also going to worry about the cars behind. We've seen what happens when you focus too much on the car in front. That kind of just opens you up to the car behind. Wow.
This is a gap, that's come down actually very recently. I'm noticing there's a yellow flag for the 369 in the back as well. That's Aiden Burke, who looks like he's off in the middle of sector 2. Does return to the garage. The A17 now off as well. That's a newer driver, I think, in KISS, who is going to remain on track presently speaking. But Majid has started to close down the gap here to Bailey Kish. A fight for the lead in the last 4 minutes of the race. More likely than not going to be, what does it make, 3 laps maybe? 3 or 4 laps left to go in this race.
Yeah, should be around there. Yeah, this kind of shows, how much pace, Bosley, was able to have probably the last race, if the misfortunes didn't happen. But I mean, now we're in this race though, so you not to worry too much about that. And yeah, he looks like he's got a lot of pace on him now.
Almost had. Oh, and just as we were starting that replay, I saw a Mustang have a not so favorable moment. Big bobble at turn 1, and that's a wipeout there for the 518. I do wonder what happened to that Mustang that we saw at the end. There was that blue Mustang think that might.
Mustang would have been Zip.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it was
he's
Zip.
back in the garage. That might explain it.
Yeah.
No good.
Ooh, we go immediately to
okay,
Jason Allen having some drama there and going deep and going from attacking to defending. Johnston behind.
I struggle to use the phrase skill issue because you could just ban me, but
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you got to be careful,
Sorry,
right?
we're just all collectively going to pretend we did not see them.
Yeah. It was fine. That was somebody else. It must have been the wind.
Must have been the wind. Pulling out the Skyrim NPC lines. I love it. Movo does rejoin though. Still the top 15. A little bit of a bumble towards that curb, and one of those that we talked about in the slow Sector 3, blind apex, followed by a chicane that is definitely not very friendly. And oh boy, what's going on here? Seeing a lot of movement very suddenly in the field as Rigatoni is stationary on the side of the track. I think he might have been involved in an accident here.
Yeah.
And, I think there was contact against that Mustang.
I think there was. Hanzo being the gentleman he is, he's just gonna wait. But yeah, that that part of track can be so clunky. But yeah, he's just waiting for the Mustang to get going. Was that Worley with the Mustang?
I think it was. And Worley actually pulls into the pit lane with some apparent damage.
Yeah, quite a bit that flapping.
Which in a race like this, any damage being repaired is more likely than not going to mean you're moving all the way down to the back of the order.
Yeah, there's no mandatory pit stops or anything in these races. Just a great sprint.
It looks like the next one will be the last lap of the race. Bailey has opened the gap to Majid by a not insignificant margin. Velasquez taking advantage. A slight mistake there from Queasy. Still owes the space on the inside. Brandon Chan's trying to find their way through in the number 17 NSX. Doesn't look like there's really any space to make a move happen, and now the white flag is waving. And oh my goodness, Brandon Chan has a massive spin completely on his own. That's just NSX things for you.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that was just self-inflicted there. I don't think there was contact. I think just on the brakes, on the AstroTurf on the outside, or maybe, I don't know if that's AstroTurf. I guess it might be just painted surface, but yeah, just, I mean, that car was definitely difficult on the braking, so.
Yeah, well, I think it might have been a combination of things. It looked like not braking in a straight line there, immediately transferring the weight onto the outside tires, getting onto the curbing, just the balance of the car, lots of factors playing into that, because Brandon Chan is not a bad driver. Let me just say that.
No, not at all.
Clear. Brandon Chan, very talented, and that's just the nature of the car.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looks like these two still going at it hard. I mean, these two have been glued together for two races now. Maybe some again, we were talking about, with a bit of a drama from the last race. Looks like, they definitely don't get, any space between them for this race.
Well, I'm just going to say it right now, and Andres Velasquez, he's thinking about it, wants to go up the inside, and space is afforded there. Queasy saw it coming from a mile away, but he's out onto the painted segment of the track, tries to rejoin, and Velasquez is ahead. Just absolutely monstering his way through with an intimidation tactic, and the Ferrari allowed Velasquez through. We missed the finish again. Fazli Majid comes through, and Moffat in third with Spangler close behind. But what a send for Velasquez, but he wasn't going to hit the Ferrari, I don't think. I think there was still space for Queasy to take the racing line, and Velasquez would have been forced to back out of that move, but takes 8th place in the race.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that was Jay Queasy there being a little bit timid, from the past race. If he defended too much, if he was worried that he was going to be taken out, so just given the space, letting him go through.
Yeah. Well, in the end, Velasquez made it through, and there is a place in racing for just trying to scare your opposition.
Absolutely, that is a completely valid strategy, and you know it worked in that situation. Absolutely. So yeah, and it's the last lap too, so you want to try what you can to get that position. It's always a great feeling to get that position on the last lap.
Last cars come across the line, and that's going to wrap it up here for Barcelona. I believe we actually still have... Okay, so this is actually still a little bit of a battle, or it would have been if Jean Maye hadn't come into the pits on the last lap of the race.
That's pretty interesting.
Curious. Well, across,
Yeah.
across the line, no matter. And that's it. Oh, dear. I don't even know what to think. I
Yeah,
really don't.
wild couple races there, but both of them Bailey Kish coming out on top.
We did have a notable absence of Mia Rose. Guy Manperson did not attend this race. But there were more than a couple of names in here that were contesting Bailey Kish, so you can't really detract from his performance. He's leading the championship on the grounds of being consistent, and he continued that here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Fosley was keeping him honest there for a little bit, catching up, closing down that gap a little bit, and really making him, think about, working to keep that P1 finish.
Indeed, I've got to find out here, because I don't actually know what the track is for tomorrow.
It's Bathurst.
Oh yes, Mount Panorama. Personal favorite of mine. I'm sure that everybody will survive, and there will be no carnage on the mountain whatsoever.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be totally clean. Nothing to worry about.
Very ordinary scenes heading your way for tomorrow. But yeah, looking at it in retrospect here, lots of fun moments for these two races. I certainly feel like we caught a lot of good ones on camera, but I also feel like there are plenty of stories that drivers didn't have the chance to tell on screen tonight. So I do regret that a little bit, but I'm sick. I have an excuse. You guys can't yell at me.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard to keep track of everything during a league and a week race. I mean, there is like I said, there's so many kinds of drivers with different pace, and yeah, it makes things very exciting.
Indeed. Let me see here. If I can pull this up. No, I can't. Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. We don't need it. I was going to see if I could pull up the track map for Mount Panorama to talk about that one a little bit before tomorrow. But you guys can just wait until tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad place. Twitch.tv/SimRacingAlliance. And of course, we'll be live tomorrow at 9 p.m. with League in a Week. It'll be the last round. We'll be able to crown Bailey Kish the champion almost certainly, with back-to-back wins, extending his lead by 100 and, or I guess extending his point total by 110 points, extending his lead by some less than that because Travis Robinson was out on field today. But Donovan, any closing thoughts here?
No, I mean, it's an exciting race. I mean, League of the Week, I mean, always delivers, these super crazy races. So, yeah, it's a good time. Looking forward to tomorrow.
I see Jay is saying in the chat, Queasy won't be leaving any doors open tomorrow. Oh, well, we can't wait.
Looking forward to that.
No walls, please. Yeah, good luck with that one. In any case, it's Mount Panorama tomorrow. We'll see you guys there. Well, I guess maybe I won't. Maybe Donovan won't. I'm not really sure what the plan is for that. But we're going to be streaming it here tomorrow. I sure hope. 9 p.m. Sim Racing Alliance. We'll see you then.